So, ladies and gentlemen, things are heating up again. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear the pot sizzling? It's heating up again. Joey Badass fired more shots at Ray Vaughn. Now, for the people that aren't aware and don't know what's happening and when anything started, a few months ago, Joey Badass, towards the tail end of the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef, Joey put out a song called The Ruler's Back, where even though the dust was settling with Drake and Kendrick, it felt like he was kind of kicking up dust and taking shots at the West Coast. A lot of West Coast rappers were offended. YouTubers dissed him. Other rappers dissed him, mainly Daylyt and Ray Vaughn. And recently, Joey Badass, he did a cypher with Big Sean and Ab Soul on Red Bull's 1520 channel. And in that cypher, he took more shots at Daylyt. He took a few jabs at Ray Vaughn, but it was mostly directed at Daylyt. But nonetheless, Ray Vaughn took the opportunity and ran with it, which is understandable. He ran with it. And Ray Vaughn last night, Ray Vaughn put out this, yesterday afternoon, Ray Vaughn put out the song called Hoe Era, which was a shot at Joey Badass. It was a dope diss song. And now today, Joey Badass has responded again with the song The Finals, which I think it's a dope song, but I was very intrigued by the approach he took when it comes to his delivery on this track. It kind of reminded me of, like, I can't remember what the name of the song was, but there was a Jadakiss song where Jadakiss was low-key coming at somebody, dissing somebody, but at the beginning he specifically said, like, yo, I don't even want to sound mad, man. I feel marvelous. It gave me that sort of vibe. Joey's demeanor, well, Joey's flow, Joey's delivery was very chill. Not chill, but it was stern, but it was still kind of laid back. In a sense, this song almost felt like a warm-up track. Like, I know that sounds crazy, right? But this legitimately felt like it was just a warm-up track for Joey at this point. If I was Ray Vaughn, I would be kind of offended by that, because when you listen to Ray Vaughn is rapping with much more intensity, and he's rapping as if he's trying to put everything on the line. Whereas in the case of Joey, he's kind of rapping as if he could, like, almost like this is light work to him. So I would be a little annoyed if I was Ray Vaughn. And then also Joey's kind of trolling him by starting the song off by saying, I'm back, basically, because obviously Ray Vaughn took shots at Joey by saying, nobody cares if you're back, we don't care where you've been, and we don't care where you're at. And it was there was a lot of interesting things that Joey said in this song. Mainly, Joey pointed out the fact that Ray Vaughn has been signed to TDE for 5 years and has not popped off yet, and Ray Vaughn at this point is more so known from his TDE affiliation and not known at all from his music, which I thought was a obvious but smart angle to bring up immediately, mainly because in Ray Vaughn's song Hoe Era, Ray Vaughn pointed out the fact that, hey, Joey Badass never really blew up or popped off on a mainstream level. Like, it's been a couple years and he's more so known for acting at this point. And I think it was a smart decision by Joey to point out the fact that I've made it way farther than you have. I've gotten way farther than you could have dreamed of. And you're most so known for being with TDE at this point. It's almost like when I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago when Hollow the Don and Joe Budden battled each other, and Hollow kept pointing out that Joe only had Pump It Up and he kept calling him a one-hit wonder, and Joey started the battle off by saying, you keep talking about my last hit, but homie, was your first one. And that immediately kind of neutralizes it at that point, because it's like, well, regardless of what you can say about this guy, he did make it farther than you. Not that means you can't diss him, but it is something that you kind of just got to eat that. And then also he brought up the fact that at this point, Joey beefing with this guy has actually done more for his career than anything TDE has done up until this point. And that is very true. Like, that's not debatable. Like, this is the most I've ever heard anybody really speak about Ray Vaughn. No offense to Ray Vaughn, but it's just the truth. And he also brought up the fact that Crash Out was not Ray Vaughn's original beat, which I thought that was an interesting thing to bring up, because now at that point you're kind of opening up the door to kind of take shots at his creativity and basically tie that back into the fact that he's only known for being signed to TDE and not known for specific songs. You could tie that back into it and say, hey, maybe the reason you're not popping is because you're not that good. Now, I think Ray Vaughn is talented, but I'm just saying this is something Joey could possibly say in the future. But also, Joey pointed out the fact that Kendrick Lamar, as far as we know, has never let it be known that he publicly affiliates with this guy. And that's not just a Ray Vaughn thing. Really, anybody from the newer era of TDE, like when you think about Reason's not signed anymore, but back when they had Reason, Ray Vaughn, Doechii, but recently Kendrick shouted out Doechii. He shouted out her album on his Instagram, I believe. But for the most part, Kendrick really hasn't gone out of his way to affiliate with the newer crop of TDE artists. And Joey wisely pointed that out and said, hey, I bet you probably don't even have his number, which kind of makes Ray look kind of crazy, because it's like, hey, you're low-key, no pun intended, you're crashing out all in the name of trying to, defend a guy who we've yet to see go out of his way to affiliate with you publicly. And that could definitely make Ray Vaughn look crazy in the situation. It can make him look like he's just glazing. It can make it look like he's just meat riding, so to speak, right? And also, Reason caught a stray, like the rapper Reason. Speaking of, like, artists on TDE that Kendrick never affiliated with, when Joey said, hey, you about to be the next artist dropped from TDE, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm the reason. Of course, that's simply referring to Reason, who was the artist who got dropped by TDE about more or less a year ago. And there was a lot of clever punchlines in this battle, whether it's the punchline where he's obviously the Reason bar that I'm just referring to, as well as the Sugar Ray Sugar in the Tank punchline, as well as the Light Years Beyond Ray punchline. He made a lot of dog related punchlines and top related punchlines, which makes sense because of the name of the label. And then also, he, in what I believe is a kind of slick way, he kind of flipped the Hoe Era insult by saying, hey, you needed to use my name for clout. You needed to use my name to get any sort of attention and traction. And part of the reason I think it's slick is because when you look at his response, he didn't use Ray Vaughn's picture, or didn't mention his name in the title, or didn't say anything in the title to kind of let it be known that it's talking about him, almost as if he's trying to say, hey, I don't need you, you need me. Because instead of him naming the song Gay Vaughn or something, which is what he said in the song, like kind of making fun of him, flipping his name, instead of him doing that in the name of the song, he instead just called it The Finals, and the cover art is just a black screen with the NBA Finals logo. So I thought that was an interesting thing that he threw in there. So this is getting very, very interesting. Like I said, to me, this still feels like a warm-up, and we still haven't seen Daylyt jump back in, which was interesting because in Joey Badass's cypher, he was mainly taking shots at Daylyt. Also, to end the song, Joey called out Kendrick Lamar, basically saying, hey, Kendrick, if you're looking for somebody to beef with in competition, just know that I'm right here. Which I thought was interesting, especially because Joey in the song kept going with the angle of, hey, you're not the middleman, you're just a little man. Basically, almost like he's saying, in so many words, I only talk to bosses, not second in command. If you ever listen to the song by Baka Not Nice, if you might know what I'm referencing, but that's neither here nor there. Either way, let me know what your thoughts are. Were you impressed by this song, or do you think that Ray Vaughn's song was better? And who do you think will come out winning this battle?